This story starts actually on the plane ride to Brazil. Typically, when you fly to Brazil from the US, depending on where you're going, if you're going to a more remote location, you're gonna have to take a secondary flight on a smaller plane. I'm sitting next to this sizable woman. I'm exhausted, I'm hungry, I can't eat plain food, so I'm starving. And anyway, they bring out the plain food, and it's like some chicken marsala cacciatore deal, and it smells so bad. And she just starts eating it. And it's like 20 minutes go by, she's done, everyone's done eating on the plane, and all of a sudden I'm like, what the hell is that smell? Like, and it's like this like pungent, rotten smell. And like I look over at the lady and she's like, like wide-eyed looking at me, and I'm like, are you ripping ass on the plane? So, and that was like another 6 hours of that. And like, she was like farting, and it was like those like fart noises where it's like, I get off the plane, I'm like super tired. The miners come to the airport, they pick me up at the airport, and I'm like, I'm just not in the mood. Anyway, when I go to the mines, I usually stay at a hotel, right? They call it a hotel, but it's literally just like some person's house that has an extra room, and they give you some breakfast. We get there, and apparently the hotel is not, they can't accommodate me because there has been a flood in the room, and it's a death trap. I can't stay there. And the miner's like, don't worry about it. My father has a hut in the jungle, in the woods here. So we drive to the hut in the middle of the woods, and it's daytime out. So I'm like, oh, this is not so bad. But there's no electricity, and then the running water literally smells like feces. But anyway, I'm like, okay, this is not the worst situation I've ever been in. I eat some dinner, I go back to the hut, and it's pitch black dark. And I have my cell phone at the time, so I'm using my cell phone as a light, but there's no electricity in the hut, so I can't charge my cell phone. So I have to make like serious life decisions here as to what part of my night will be dark and what part of my night will not. And initially I'm worried about the bugs. I'm worried about the spiders and the creepy crawly things that are usually alien-esque in nature. So I'm crawling into the bed, and I wrap myself like a cocoon to protect myself from creeping and crawling things. And as soon as I close my eyes, I hear like somebody's like running around in the hut. And I'm like, who's in the hut? So I unwrap myself from the blanket, I turn on my cell phone, I scan the room with my cell phone, and nobody's in the room. And I'm like, great. Lay back down, re-cocoon myself, people running in the room. This is a true story. And this time I get up and I'm scared now. Now I'm actually scared. And I get up with the phone and I scan them. Because remember, I have no cell phone charger, so I have to be sparing with I can't just leave the light on my phone. No one in the room. And there's nowhere to go. Like, if I want to leave the cabin, I'm gonna have to walk like a quarter of a mile through the wood. Then that's not gonna happen either. And all night long, touching me, I feel things touching me. I don't sleep a wink. Imagine being in the middle of the jungle in a hut by yourself. It wasn't like there were other huts with other people. It was one hut in the middle of nowhere with a poltergeist in the fucking hut. It's unreasonable. It's just not reasonable. I wake up in the morning and there's little handprints on the door. And I'm like, this is fine. Like, this is some crazy shit, man. Anyway, I hear a honking outside of the door. I go outside, the guy's in the pickup truck. I get in the pickup truck and I'm like, let's just go. We get there. There's a problem in the mine. There's water in the mines. They're like, you need to stay another night. And I'm like, absolutely not. Am I staying another night? And they're like, well, what are you gonna do? Because the problem is that to drive to the mines, it has to be in the daytime. Because there's no road lights, there's no nothing. It's just dirt roads in the middle of nowhere. And you can't drive that at night. You're driving on the side of mountains. It's really aggressive to try to make that ride at night. So what they were saying is that there's no way we can drive you to the airport. It's 7 hours away and then have to drive back. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm a big boy, I can do it. So I go back to the room. Like, I know it's coming, right? So I'm like sitting in the bed and I'm talking to it now. And I'm like, listen, motherfucker, I gotta go to sleep. Okay, I know you're an evil bastard. I know you're in here. Get the fuck out of my room just for the night. just wait outside, let me sleep, and then tomorrow you can come back in, and the next person that comes, do whatever the you like to them, but I need to sleep tonight. Please just go wait outside for me while I sleep. And nothing, really, nothing happened that night. No noises, no weird nothing. Woke up in the morning, I was refreshed. What a shitty trip that was. What a shitty trip. Booyakasha. We're out here at the gem mines. I'm visiting with Thea, one of my dear friends. I'm trying to buy a really old crystal collection that she has. I've been trying to buy it for about 7-8 years. Recently we've been talking about it, and it seems like she's at least willing to let me go down and see the collection. Potentially we're going to make an offer and get it from her, although I'm assuming it's going to be more difficult than that because it's very personal and very dear to her. So let's go into the gem mines and meet with Thea. Oh wow, it looks so nice in here since you got the windows redone. The windows were a hot mess. Now you're like an official.
Rather than the 1960s. Good to see you, darling.
So one of the amazing things about the gem mines and about Thea's shop is that she has stuff in here that doesn't exist anymore. And when I say doesn't exist anymore, it means there's no way you're getting your hands on this material nowadays. And one of the pieces that every time I come in here is I'm immediately drawn to is this piece right here, which is basically a quartz cluster, but it has like a celestial formation. Double terminated cluster from Colorado, and maybe you could tell us a little bit more about it.
It's a piece that people want to buy, and I'm not willing to give it up, not yet. It's one of a piece from our collection, only because my father had it trucked over from Ouray, Colorado back in the 70s. And it's a really special piece, and a lot of people want it, but I want to keep it, so.
This is probably the oldest crystal shop business in New Jersey. If not one of the oldest in the country. And you were originally inherited this from your dad.
Right, he started in 1970.
1970, but he was rock hounding.
Oh yeah, he was interested in rocks and minerals and mineralogy ever since he was young.
But the gem mines has been around since 1970.
Yes.
Which gives us 52 years of being in it. So all of the young people that are coming into the business and have no idea what the spectrum looks like, right? Because there's a vast spectrum. What we're seeing now today with the mass manufacturing of poor quality material, unethical sourcing, whatever's going on in the industry, that was never the narrative going backwards. That developed over the last 10 years, let's say, 8 years even, right? It's more of a newer narrative.
It's a newer narrative. Like what I call the crystal craze started more than 20 years ago, because we've been here since 1996, and when we were back in Teaneck, my mother would tell me that people would come in and hold crystals in their hand and lay down on the floor in the middle of the shop and move the crystals around. So the whole
that's the start of New Age.
Yeah.
But as far as like we're seeing the explosion of interest in online sellers, and every person is that did not exist even 5 years ago.
You're right.
But
people selling individual mineral specimens like we've been selling for 52 years. All of a sudden you see all these specimens online and you're like, you don't understand where this came from. And of course it is a conglomerate of the crystal craze and people, more being out there and everything. You see more and you want more.
Well, the interesting thing too is that like one of the things that I've been trying to do over the last several years is bring more awareness about the industry and how things are kind of done to the younger people who are jumping into this business, don't even know how to pronounce agate.
Right, exactly.
Literally, they're saying
labradorite.
But who are claiming that they are professionals,
right.
Like I said, I just came in before and I saw the stone picker, right? And the girl who you have working here was like, I don't even know that thing was there, what is that thing? What does it do? Like that's kind of the point, is that the young people who are super into the business and into the industry, into crystals, have no idea what it was before it became what it is today.
And they come in and they ask me for a particular crystal, and they'll give me a name, and I'll say, well, what's the mineralogical name for it? Because they're giving me some weird name, and I'll say, well, what is that? I only know it by whatever.
Poop.
Yeah, right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Which is okay.
Which is fine.
It's not a knock on people who are in that situation.
No, but
just making that very clear.
It just shows that there is stuff that came before, you know. And
yeah, there's a whole narrative that led us to this place, and it's interesting because Thea is one of the pioneers. I mean, I've been doing this for over 10 years, wholesaling. I know pretty much everybody that there really is to know in the industry, and there's not many people that have been in the business that long. Maybe you got someone 10, 15, 20 years. 20 years is even a long time, but for someone to be over 50 years in the business and retailing, there's a vast stream of knowledge there. But anyway, what we're here to do today is Thea has a secret stash in the basement. I've been down there before. She doesn't let anybody down there, right?
a lot of people want to go down there, but I don't let them go down.
Yeah, so we're going down there, not by force. First time, we're not going to tie you up somewhere. I don't have any weird
torture contraptions down there.
It sure looks like there is, though. But we're going to go down to the basement. There is a really amazing collection here that I've been trying to get my hands on for a very long period of time. Today might be my lucky day. We're going to see if you're willing to let it go. Okay. Well, it's been a long time since I've been down here. It is it's creepy. Start with that. It's also apparently lined with asbestos, so let's stay away from that. Don't look at the asbestos, kids. Okay. Yeah, this is so one of the things that Thea does a lot, and what people know her for and are constantly doing, are bringing her like stuff from estates. So she is primarily a crystal shop and a jewelry shop, and she fixes jewelry. She does really, if you need jewelry fixed, she's your girl. But what she also does is buy out estates that have jewelry, stuff that's antiquitous, like this. Hold on, like this raccoon in a bathtub. Okay, we got a raccoon in a bathtub. Start with that. Pink elephant. Well, here's your first little round of stuff here. Okay. It's so crazy. It literally looks like a mine down here. It looks like a mine shaft down here. In some parts of it, it really does. All right, well, it's definitely dark as shit in here. Imagine this works. What the fuck is this thing? All right, this'll do. So none of this is organized, and what I'm primarily looking at is Thea's father, God rest his soul, was like one of the OG like rock hounds, like when New Jersey had a bunch of minerals, and this is a large collection of it. He was also a lap, so he was cutting and polishing stuff, and this is what he was into. And so, that's what we're looking at here, is this man's, rock hounding collection from the 60s, 70s, early 80s. Oh wow, that's actually really cool. She's got horn coral. I'm assuming the locality is Maine. It's from the coastline for sure, but that's pretty cool. This is a big piece of prehnite from Paterson, New Jersey. When they were building the highway here, Route 80, they were cutting in, and I guess that a lot of people were rock hounding around where they were building the highway, and so this is a really great piece. It just needs to be cleaned up. Like, it needs a really good cleaning, but I'm very interested in having this. And we got some agatized coral right here. This was a nodule that probably Thea's dad cut, but I think this is most likely from Florida. Okay, and this is a polished piece of that coral that we're looking at right here. And you know, this is rock hounded. This hasn't been cut, this hasn't been polished. A lot of it doesn't look like much on the surface, but once it's cut and polished, it's gonna be nice stuff. And it's also very historical. Ooh, she got still bite from Snake Hill. Wonder what that looks like. Ah! 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 Did I get you? Okay, this is really cool. Sardinia?
Sardinia, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a spectacular.
This is barite from Sardinia, Italy. Extremely fine crystal. It doesn't look like something you'd wave a stick at, but this is actually a really fine mineral sitting in here. Okay, that's just one thing. Anyway, I just found this piece of millerite from Mexico. Good luck even finding this, right? No way, right? Yeah. So again, like I said, maybe doesn't look like much, but you know, good luck finding this. There's wolfenite on here too, right?
Yes.
See what I'm saying? Come on, girl.
And most of it is on dolomite, looks like.
It does look like it's hard to tell, but it could be dolomite. It looks like there's like some quartz druzy on here too. But you know, this is a piece I'm gonna say like you'd probably see this in a collection for like 1,200. Yeah. Okay, so I mean, it's not the first time I've been down there, but I made my assessment of what's down there, and I think you know, let me think about it for like a day or two and come up with a number that I think is fair and makes sense for both of us, and then let's see if we can, you know, come to an agreement, because I do definitely want what's down there, not for, you know, reselling purposes, but also because it's, you know, there's stuff down there that needs to be put in a museum almost to some degree, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to be treated with respect.
So those were the 2 or 3 pieces that I had shown you when we were down there, right?
Well, there's a lot of stuff down there. Again, it's hard to get to all of it and see all of it, so I don't fully know the details of all of it, but I'm sure you have an idea of what you want for it, and I have an idea of what I want to pay for it. But let me just, like, you know, process it and think about it, because I don't think it's anybody's, you know, business after, you know, we make a decision on it. But again, my point is that what's down there has more than monetary value.
Oh, it absolutely does. It absolutely does.
And we want to make sure that it's going into a place and in a situation where that kind of stuff, especially because a lot of it's New Jersey stuff, you know, U.S.
And
stuff.
it's old New Jersey stuff, a lot of the stuff that my father
Right. I
found,
don't
you know,
think it
Patterson
makes,
and-
I just don't think it makes sense for it to go to somebody who's just going to take it to a gem show, resell it for whatever they
That's
resell.
why I let you down there,
Right.
Chris.
So that I'd rather get it and have a way to, like, you know, because we're building out a gallery and a museum.
Right.
I'd like to put a lot of that stuff in there as kind of a montage to New Jersey.
Yeah, oh yeah,
and
no, you should definitely.
To you and your father, who are, you know, pioneers of this industry, believe it or not. So Yeah. All right.
Okay.
We gotta go.
Thank you, darling. Good seeing you.